In this video, we'll turn a piece of cast aluminum into an aged bronze finish. First, we'll start off with the Sculpt Nouveau metal cleaner and a Scotch-Brite pad. As per usual, you can sandblast or sand depending on what your piece looks like. Here, it's a little bit more ornate. It would be easier with a wire brush or a Scotch-Brite pad like I'm doing here. Ultimately, we just need to degrease it and scuff it up a little bit. To start off, once we've degreased it, we're going to use the slate black hot. Now, slate black on aluminum applied hot will make it go to a dark brown color. If you do it cold, it comes in more as a weathered black. So we're going to do it hot, kind of give a brownish, almost a bronzy undertone, and then we can start from there. Now, to avoid going with the hot patina or with slate black like an acid, you could go straight into the smart stains, which we'll move into later. You could just do a brown smart stain, go straight over the surface, and do a completely faux finish. I chose going with the slate black in this application just because I like the brown that it creates. It kind of does a mottled brown, and we're going to cover a lot of that up, but I just like the touches that it adds, a little bit more realism to it. So now we're going to go in with these smart stains. And this is where you can really ultimately decide what color you want it to look like. Here I decided I wanted a little bit more touch of green, so we're going to go with the 1 part of green-blue smart stain. The green on its own is pretty nice, but to get more of that traditional green look you'd see on bronze, brass, and copper, the green-blue does a better job. Now, since it's going to start off a little dark, we've got to go in with some more white. So we're going to actually go in with about 5 parts of white smart stain to really lighten this up. You can see that color just pop off a little bit more. That's a little bit more what you would expect if you were getting the Tiffany green, like I said before. But it's still a little too opaque right now. So we're going to mix this up, and then we're actually going to use some of the Smart Coat, which is the sealer, but it's also kind of the base for smart stain. So it's a great thinner that helps keep up that adhesion properties. So you can see here's the color we have right now, and we just want to thin that down a little bit. So I'm going to add 6 parts of Smart Coat matte. So ultimately our green mixture is 1-to-1 with the Smart Coat. So we're really thinning this out pretty good. And depending if you're going to spray or brush or whatever the case may be, you may want to tweak those ratios just a little bit as far as the Smart Coat goes. Here we're going to just sponge it on, and you can see I already have half of it on. Unfortunately, the camera didn't record when I hit record that first time, so you're going to be able to see from there on out. And you can see as thin as I have it, I'm able to really build up the layers. I'm doing multiple layers to just add that touch of realism. Now, we could go in with just a more opaque coating, less Smart Coat. The reason why I like building up the coats is it just looks that much more natural. If you start more opaque, there's not really anywhere else you can go. Whereas you can see in the crease up on the top right there, you can see a little bit more of it just sitting in the recesses. That's okay because it's a little bit more thinned out. If that was more opaque, it might look a little off to our eye once it dries. So thinner, in my opinion, is a little bit better, a little bit easier to work with, and overall, I just think it looks good. And for those of you who need to move a little faster or don't want to sponge, here I'm using a brush on this side, and I'm just trying to more dry brush it. This is a brush that I just got from the local art store. A little cheapo, less than $1 I think it was paid for, and I'm just trying to dry brush it. Stipple in some areas, but mostly you can see I'm just quickly brushing over the surface. And I do have the surface heated a little bit on here. It's not really warm, maybe 85, 90 degrees. So it's not really warm, but it's warm enough to make it so it's not running. If it was running, it would be a little bit more difficult. So I really recommend at least heating it up with a hairdryer, heat gun, or even just doing this out in the sun. And that would pretty much bring you up to temperature where you want it to be. The nice thing about working with smart stains and the faux finishes that Sculpt Nouveau offers is that the reliability factor. The only variable that we have that might change in this entire process is the slate black. That being an underlining color, it's even not going to play that much into a factor. You can even just use the smart stains, like I said before, and have it completely turn out the exact same way over as many parts or linear or square footage that you have to cover. That's the nice thing about the smart stains, is they'll always be the same thing once you get that ratio down right. And here we have what we have left after we've done the smart stain green. We're going to go in with the brown and Verde Patina stains over the surface. And this is just to add a little bit more aged look. It looks nice right now. Personally, I think it's a little bit too lively. It's got a little bit too much pop for me. So I'm going to go in with the brown patina stain. You can see it kind of bronzes it up a little bit. We're going to go back with the Verde and make that green pop back out. You could tweak the smart stains continuously and try and get them a little bit closer to do exactly this. I just found that once I get that kind of Tiffany color right, I'm pretty happy with that, and I can go over the top with the brown and Verde patina stain, or even just the Age It. And both of those will achieve the same factor, is just making it look a little bit more aged. And here we have our final aged bronze finish on an aluminum casting. Slate Black, Smart Stains, and Patina Stains are all available at www.sculptnouveau.com.